Yeah, I put my dad in the street against a heavyweight.
I've gone back to the dad. I've punched him a few more
There's
times.
5 blokes outside my front door. Can you come and help
One
me?
hell of a fucking story, so stay tuned.
Andrew McCART, IFL TV, proudly sponsored by Everlast. Delighted as always to be joined by Mr. Maxi Hughes. Maxi, it's been a while, mate. You've been using that running machine behind you?
I have, yeah. What I like to do is, most of the time I like to go outside and do my running because it does bore me. But on this side, we have got a good telly connected to internet, so I usually like to watch the rerun of all the remember 24/7s and Showtime All Access. So I do that. I do my 5K sprints on that. And what is it? I think the fastest I've done it is 16 minutes 36 to do 5K, which is not a bad time.
Which is pretty fast, mate. I think my fastest ever is 22 minutes, so that's rapid. Yeah. That's very, very fast.
Yeah, so I use that for like doing sprints, but most of the time when I go out, I do my runs outside.
Well, enough of the small talk then. Big fight for yourself. You've been calling the big names. Might not be the big name that you've been calling out in the Ryan Garcias and all these guys, and obviously the Navarez fight that we've seen on your Instagram and Twitter that was signed, sealed, delivered and got pulled in the 11th minute. But Kid Galahad, not a bad fight, man. He's moving up big weights, 2 weight classes to come and face you and trying to rip that title from you, man. Just your thoughts on the fight itself.
Yeah, it's a fight that sort of came out of nowhere. Obviously, it was featherweight world champion, so the fight has come out because the last I heard was the last Lee Woodbill, wasn't it? He was supposed to be on there in his comeback fight at Super Feather. So, yeah, surprised that he's jumping up 2 weights. He's sort of following a Lee Selby path, isn't he? Selby did that jump from feather to lightweight. So yeah, it's a good high-profile fight, And what usually happens, I've seen over years, is when somebody's been champion, especially with the IBF seems to regard their champions quite highly. So I would imagine when the IBF know he's moving up, they might still rank him highly, which I believe I hadn't looked for a bit, but last time I looked, I was number 10 with IBF. So beating Kid Galahad should improve my ranking again in the IBF. Hopefully, it'd be nice to get a top 5 position, and like I say, get the win here and move on again. To the bigger fights. It's the same fight. Like each fighter. I say the same thing. It's just another fight. Get this fight away, and the bigger fights are there. This is a bigger fight from my last fight. I've faced like two IBF challengers in Liam Walsh and John O'Carroll. So now's the time, we're stepping up. We're facing a former champion, not a champion of 5 to 10 years ago. This is a champion who was his champion in his last fight. So someone who's very much still at that, world level, world class fighter. So it's good, it's a step up. And what I'm looking forward to, I'm very confident of coming through and getting job done. And again, just like always, moving on to them bigger fights.
Kid Galahad obviously had that fight with a gym mate of yours and Josh Warrington a few years back. Some people thought he won. Josh obviously thought he won that fight. Josh. Kid Galahad thought he won that fight. Now, Kid's probably looking at you and thinking he's teammates, gym mates with Josh, so he might have that bit between his teeth now. He might get that little bit of extra fire in his belly to try and take you out because you are gym mates with Josh. Are you planning for that? Yeah. Are you looking forward to that?
Yeah, I'm expecting the best version of him, and obviously there's history there with my teammate Josh and my trainer Sean. But in terms of like their history, it's 3-0 to Josh and Sean. They beat Barry twice in amateurs and as a professional. Some say it was controversial, but ultimately the right man won at night, and he can say what he wants, but he lost that fight. Quite close, but ultimately Josh won. So, we're not like obviously Sean's going into this fight knowing Barry, knowing him quite well. He's had to do this before, so that's maybe a little upper hand. He might have a bit between his teeth, but I've very much got the bit between my teeth. We're just stuff that's happened over the last few weeks. We got the fight got put to us with Kid Galahad a few like first, and then Ryan Garcia popped up in my DMs again, and that was the course of action. Eddie had told us, look, I'm going to try my best here. We're going to go for this Garcia fight. I believe we can get this fight for October. And then it were like, right, this fight, I'm not getting much back from Golden Boy, so we'll stick with the original plan and we'll go for Galahad. Nothing got sort of agreed and signed. And then got a message saying the Linares fight's happening. You're going to fight Jorge Linares, 24th September at Sheffield Arena this time. I was going to be the headline because of the Leewood Santa Cruz situation was, that's been a bit of a mess as well, hasn't it, for their teams to be having to deal with. But then once the Linares fight had been agreed and ready to be announced last Thursday, it sort of went quiet a bit, and then received a message off Eddie on Saturday saying there's been a problem with him. His team are now getting involved. I think the trouble was Eddie said he's got about 8 different promoters and managers, so they were all having their all to say, and they were making their demands, changing goalposts, asking for more time. And what the story where Eddie says, look, we could look to reschedule this later in the year, but he says I don't trust him. He says if we wait and then they change the goalposts again later in the year, I haven't fought. So I says, right, forget Linares. That can be there later in the year or next year, whatever. I want to fight. I'm desperate to fight. I've been training hard for a long time. If Kid Galahad's up for it, we'll have that fight. And if it's back on in Nottingham, we'll go do it in Nottingham. Obviously, Lee and his team resolved the issues, whatever it was, with Santa Cruz, and he's fighting Mauricio Lara, which is a big fight. And I believe we'll be chief support to that. So yeah, that's how in the terms, the events that have been over the last few months, weeks. So we're finally here now, and I've got my eyes set on the goal, and just need to go out and deliver, and then move on from it.
That's the thing. It's 4 weeks on Saturday, like we spoke about before I pushed record. So not much preparation. Obviously, you had that Linares fight in your head, then now you've got Kid Galahad in your head. But that Ryan Garcia carrot and Linares carrot, though, that big name that you're after. I think Kid Galahad is a big name, rightfully so, because he is a former champion. But the Ryan Garcia fight and the Linares fight has been dangling over you for a long time now. We've seen it in some fighters that when they get dangled that carrot and they do fight another fighter that wasn't on the radar, they as a human being, they take their eye off the ball a little bit. And we've seen little mishaps and slip ups. But for you, you're not going to think about Ryan Garcia until after the Kid Galahad fight.
No, I'm too. At this point, I'm quite experienced now as a professional, and I know how much it means to me. It's took a long time for me to be getting this position, and I appreciate it. And I certainly won't be taking it for granted. And each fight, every single fight is a must-win fight to be able to move on. To them big money fights. So I'll forget all this talk of Linares and Garcia and them big money fights. I'm professional enough to get that out of my head, and my head space is now fully focused on Kid Galahad, and because that name has been floating around for a while. Now we've been preparing for All Stars. Like we're in our gym, we don't necessarily think, right, we need an exact replica of our opponent, but which is very hard to find because each fight is unique, and you never know what they're going to come up with on fight night. So we're always happy to spar and prepare for an array of different styles and all that sort of stuff. So we've been preparing for us, like our sparring partners are a couple of different sparring partners a week. So the styles that you're sparring are all different, and they're all preparing you for different scenarios. So the best thing is just to be prepared all round, which we have been doing for a while now. I had a little break after my last fight, which was in March, and then just back in gym, just practicing, and that's the best way to live now as an ultimate professional, is just stay in the gym and learn and practice where there's no pressure, and then obviously as fight dates close, you can step up and really start putting some graft in.
Definitely. You mentioned Ryan Garcia slipping into your DMs. What was he saying?
He asked me again. I think his message something like that. I know we've spoke before. The fight didn't happen before, but I want to come to the UK and fight, and obviously I want to fight you, Maxi. Are you up for this? Let me know soon as. So I was like, yeah, too right. I let Eddie know, and I think the teams was exchanging things. But I think the problem was, I think Ryan wanted it, but I don't know if he'd consulted his team, Golden Boy, on what he wanted to do, because the message that Eddie got back from Golden Boy was, we're not looking for any other fight than Tank Davis. So we're like, well, why is Ryan done that? Maybe just lack of communication on their sides, but there were talks back and forward, which Eddie was doing. But excuse me, it didn't seem to amount to else, So again, it's a shame, but it is what it is. I'm moving on. I've got an opponent and I've got a date, and that's my sole focus now.
One for me then. You got a message for Kid Galahad?
No, not really. I got nothing to say to him. Just, be prepared. Which I'm sure he is at all the areas that he's dedicated, this and that. It's like every fight is at this level. Every fight is dedicated. You don't get to this level if you're not dedicated. So yeah, just get ready to retire. Hope he's got a plan in place for after boxing, because after 24th he's got nowhere to go then. So yeah, that's all. Other than that, nothing to say to him.
Yeah, well, listen, you're not the type of person to talk shit and trash talk anyone, so that was the best I would have got out of you anyway.
yeah.
Listen, Maxi, I do know that it's going to be an exciting fight no matter what. I know Kid Galahad brings it, and if anyone hasn't seen your earlier fights, but they definitely have seen your 5 fights from now, both of you are going to bring it. It's going to be a great fight. Chief support in Nottingham. We know what the Nottingham crowd are like as well. Great crowd, great fans. So
yeah.
I'm possibly might not make it. We'll wait and see. I'm getting married on the 17th, and I go on my honeymoon on the 26th.
Oh, yeah.
So it's that week in between the wedding and the honeymoon. So
yeah.
We'll see how that goes. But listen, I know you got sparring tonight, so good luck, train hard, and hopefully, fingers crossed, I might see you at the end of the month.
Yeah, hopefully, mate. Yeah, shame there's no ping pong tables, is there? I reckon I can have you now.
No chance, mate. It's not happening. Listen, I'll buy a ping pong table and I'll bring it to the hotel. I'll do that. Listen, Max, speak to you soon, brother.
Right. Cheers, Andy.
Thanks,
Speak
mate.
to you
Thank
soon,
you.
pals.
Yeah, I put my dad in the street against a heavyweight.
I've gone back to the dad. I've punched him a few more
There's 5
times.
blokes outside my front door. Can you come and help
One
me?
hell of a fucking story, so stay tuned.
Welcome, Team Everlast, to the Team Everlast Fitness app. Download the Everlast Fitness app and find your greatness within.